Today we're going to talk more about the peace treaty, what's going on in the world today, and are we close to the second coming? All right. I want to apologize for Thursday. A lot of difficulties on streaming, probably due to all the traffic watching the RNC. I was on, it was streaming, but nothing was showing up, and that's the only thing I could think of. What was the problem? It was probably the massive overload from the RNC. So what's happening today? The peace treaty, the event that will catapult us into the final 7 years, is the event that we are looking for. We talked about the peace treaty that happened about 2-3 weeks ago. Donald Trump, the Jerusalem and UAE, the United Arab Emirates, signed a peace treaty, and it was pretty exciting. Caught my ears. I was like, is this it? Are we heading into the final 7? That was not the peace treaty that the Bible prophesies. The peace treaty that we're looking for is going to take place between the Israelis and the Palestinians. It's a peace treaty amongst the people of Israel. It's going to be within Israel. They're warring over the land. They're warring over the Temple Mount. And that's the peace treaty that needs to take place. But this peace treaty that happened, it's just a step in the right direction. It's all leading to that event. Once they see peace going on all around them, once they see all the economic good that it does, it should influence the Palestinians and the Israelis to come to agreement. So, step in the right direction. Not the event that needs to take place, but again, good thing. So what is this peace treaty? This peace treaty is peace among the nations. This peace treaty is going to allow the Jewish people to rebuild their third temple. And it's going to allow peace within the nation, the land, the surrounding lands. But the biggest thing is they want to worship. They want to worship in their temple. And that's the building of the third temple. That's why you hear a lot of talk about the third temple in the Jewish nation. That's their ultimate goal. They want their temple to be built. They want to be able to worship. So we're going to get into some video here. This is Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, speaking concerning peace.
This is a historic day. Jerusalem has been the capital of the Jewish people for 3,000 years. It's been the capital of Israel for nearly 70 years. It was here that our temple stood, our kings ruled, our prophets preached. Jerusalem has been the focus of our hopes, our dreams, our prayers for 3 millennia. From every corner of the earth, our people yearn to return to Jerusalem, touch its golden stones, to walk its hallowed streets. Yet today's pronouncement by President Trump is such an occasion. We're profoundly grateful for the President for his courageous and just decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and to prepare for the opening of the U.S. Embassy. This decision reflects the President's commitment to an ancient but enduring truth, to fulfilling his promises, and to advancing peace. The President's decision is an important step towards peace, for there is no peace that doesn't include Jerusalem as the capital of the state of Israel.
So President Trump is assisting in this peace to happen in Israel. The Jewish people are excited what's happening with Trump. Trump has made it one of his top priorities to make peace in Israel. And the Jewish people are praising Trump. He's the best thing. He's a prophetic, he's a prophecy happening before their eyes. They're like, we couldn't see it before, but what Trump's doing, it's all coming together. The peace that we've been yearning for, they see it. I don't know if we noticed this in the news, but when Trump made this, started talking and getting the works for peace in Israel, Jewish people from all over the world started flocking to Israel. They're like, finally, it's happening. Let's get to Israel where we can worship our God together. So the Israel nation is really pumped. They're excited what's happening with Trump. They think he is I don't want to say the chosen one, but he's being used by God. He's being a pivotal event for peace to regain in Israel. So this is Prime Minister Netanyahu again. He's talking to the high priest, and they're saying, we need this to happen. We're waiting for a Messiah. He hasn't come. So the events that need to take place, now they can see how they can put them into place that will allow their Messiah to come. Listen to what he's telling the Prime Minister.
מה שישראל לאחרונה נמצא נתצו כמה עניינים. מה שרואה עוד, וגם מטר שעדיין משאיר ליבו, אז הייתה משהו עם מה ידיעתו. הכאילו שהיא מספיק, כאילו שהיום כבר כמה שעות התרגל עדיין ליבו, אבל יש עוד כמה שעות, אז יש להשתדל גם היום, בבשורות טובות. מה שרואה עוד, וגם מטר שעדיין משאיר ליבו, אז הייתה משהו עם מה ידיעתו.
The Messiah in Judaism is a savior and liberator figure in Jewish eschatology. Eschatology means the study of end times. Who is believed to be the future redeemer of the Jewish people. The Messiah is believed to be the future redeemer of the Jewish people. Now, this is the thing. The Jewish Messiah, they're not waiting for a divine being. They're waiting for somebody in the natural, just another Messiah, but not a divine being. So it's going to be a person, a natural person. They're waiting for this Messiah to come to bring peace, to allow them to rebuild their temple and worship together. Now the Jews say that once we have this temple built and we have all the religions come and worship, they're saying it's for everyone. This temple is for everyone. Let's all worship together. They believe it's going to be peace to the world. That that's the beginning of peace to the world. So this Messiah that they're waiting for, he's, number one, he's not a divine being. And he's going to bring peace to the nation. But now that all these events are happening, people are flocking, the Jewish people are getting ready. They're building the temple. They got all the pieces put in place. They're training the priests and the young priests, the old priests. They're training them how to do the ceremonial sacrifices for the temple. Let's look at this.
The Jewish group, however, maintains that the location is key for fulfilling biblical prophecies.
It is a new start of the redemption, and we hope that next year or even before we will be on the Temple Mount. The law will come from here. All the 70 nations, they will have a seat in the court, and the law will be the law of the Bible.
Under the watch of high security, the sheep is brought to a secluded area.
We're on another milestone in the process of the return of the Jewish people to their homeland.
Young men playing the role of priests dress in biblical-looking clothes. It's now time to begin. Everyone gathers to pray as the priests reenact ancient traditions from the Bible.
The event that takes place here is not an event in itself. It's a practice. It's a training. And people are coming here to learn, to understand.
Out of the eye of the public, the sheep is slaughtered. Its blood is brought out for ritual use.
And maybe this year, and 4 days later, the representative of the groups of the Israelites will come with their lamp to the yards of the temple. We build a kosher altar and start all the ritual of Pesach lamps.
Messiah will be the judge. The Mashiach will be the judge, and not for what he sees, and not for what he hears, but what he smells.
You believe the Mashiach ben David is coming to
Mashiach
this
ben
temple?
David is very soon, and he is a Jew.
So they believe he's coming soon. The Mashiach, they call us, the Messiah. The Messiah that's going to bring Israel to peace. It's going to allow our third temple to be built. And we're going to worship as one. That's what they're hoping for. Or that's what they're working towards. So who gave them, or who started this process? Trump made it possible for the Jews to begin to work at peace, at regaining peace. Oh, check this out. Exotic birds. Green, blue. Wow. Had to throw that in there real quick. So Trump is making it possible. He's assisting in this process. They're praising Trump. They think Trump's the greatest thing right now. They couldn't be happier because now they can see. What they're doing is they're comparing him to Cyrus the Great. Remember in our earlier studies where Cyrus let the Jewish people go to rebuild their second temple when they were held captive? He said, you guys go build your temple. They made it possible for them to leave captivity and go build the second temple. They're comparing Donald Trump to King Cyrus. Watch this.
Before the 2016 presidential election, some evangelical Christians began comparing Donald Trump to King Cyrus, the biblical king who's credited with allowing Jews to return to Jerusalem from exile in the Babylonian Empire. The idea behind the comparison is that a non-believing leader can be used by God to enact policies that help advance the interest of believers, in this case, Christians and Jews. Let's talk a little bit more about the King Cyrus comparison because it's not just a small segment of evangelical Christians who are making this comparison. Prime Minister Netanyahu actually did the same thing recently, and in honoring Trump for declaring Jerusalem Israel's capital, Netanyahu likened him to Harry Truman, Lord Balfour, and Cyrus the Great. What do you make of all this?
You know, those of us lucky enough to visit Jerusalem know that we don't count in decades, we don't count in centuries, we count in millennia. You're swimming in history. And so when you see someone do something good for the Jewish people, you put them in historical context. And Harry Truman, after he recognized the state of Israel within 11 minutes of its founding in 1948, was thanked. And he said, "I am Cyrus," because he was going back to the Persian king. And so it's not surprising that we would look at Donald Trump, say he did something good for the Jewish people, he did something good for the American people, he did something good for the world, and say, you're part of that historical chain.
So he's being compared to Cyrus the Great, the one who allowed the Jewish people to build their second temple. And the Jews, the Jewish nation, Israel nation, recognize that. They're making coins with Donald Trump's face in front of the face of King Cyrus. The only other time I've seen this happen is when Saddam Hussein thought he was Nebuchadnezzar reincarnated. He had his face on the coin with Nebuchadnezzar's behind him. So that's what they're saying. That's why they think this is a prophetic thing happening, because they are being allowed the peace. They're being allowed to negotiate now. It's on the table. It's in the works. They can see it. They can taste it. They said it's almost there. What did the rabbi say about the Mashiach or the Mashiach? He said, you got to make it happen. I'm talking to Netanyahu. Things need to fall in place. Well, what are you waiting for? Let's get this going. We're waiting for the Messiah. This is a little bit about the coin.
Produced a new Cyrus Trump temple coin. This special coin was produced and minted for the 70 years of the independence of the state of Israel, and to honor and praise President Donald Trump, who promised, but not only promised, also fulfilled this promise, and next week will move the American embassy to Jerusalem. Just like King Cyrus 2,500 years ago said, he charged me to build a house in Jerusalem. Here again, President Trump is building a house in Jerusalem. The income from these.
It's a great plan for Israel. It's a great plan for peace. Frankly, Mr. President, given all that you have already done for Israel, I'm not surprised. You have been the greatest friend that Israel has ever had in the White House. I think, and I say this objectively, that the American-Israeli alliance has never been stronger. It's stronger than ever before under your leadership. And I look forward to working with you and your team to advance our common interests, security, prosperity, and peace with Israel's neighbors and for the region. And we can do it with you.
Peace, we can do it with you. The Messiah that they're waiting for is not a divine being. It's a person that is going to bring peace, allow them to build the temple, bring prosperity to their nation. Today we hear about the one world government and how it's a good thing. Let's all just be one, to have one government, one health, one money, one trade, everything, one religion. I don't know how you can have one world religion if God, the sole definition of God means one, not many. If you're God, you're one. You're not multiple. That's not the definition of God. That's a little g God, because there can be other. This is God, the all powerful, knowing, seeing, omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, everything. He's one, no other. King of kings, Lord of lords, Jesus, name above all names. God is defined as one, not many. So all this talk about one world religion, one, what is so wrong with that? Why is that a bad thing? We hear people promoting it and talking it, and they make it sound like it's good. Because when they came up with this one world government idea, it was because they were losing so many people in wars. They wanted, how can we get the whole world to get along? Let's come up with a one world government. And that's how the United Nations started, with their goal of being one world government, one world unity. So what is so wrong about that? So remember in Daniel, he talks about the four beasts, the leopard, the lion, the bear, and then the beast, the 10-horned beast. And then in Revelation, John talks about the beast as one beast with all four of these beasts together. The head of the leopard, the mouth of the lion, the feet of the bear, the body of the beast. So what is so wrong about a one world government? Why does it seem like all these people from all over the world can agree and work towards one goal? I mean, what is that? What's causing that? What's giving them this unction to want to fall into the world government, to want to give up their nation's authority and power and say to a one world nation? This is what the Bible says about the one world nation. Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising out of the sea, having 7 heads, 10 horns, and on his horn 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Now the beast which I saw was a leopard. His feet were like the feet of a bear, the mouth of a lion. The dragon gave him his power, his throne, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it had been mortally wounded, and the deadly wound was healed. So this beast, this one world government beast, the dragon gave him his authority, his seat, and his power. The dragon it's talking about is Satan. Satan is giving the power to this one world government. It's a spiritual battle. That's why they all seem to be following the same agenda. The beast is being empowered by Satan himself. The dragon gave him his power. The dragon gave him his power. The one world government comes into play. And then what happens? That 10-horned beast. One leader comes up, one horn comes up and replaces 3. And then he comes in, makes peace with Jerusalem, allows them to build their 3rd temple, brings prosperity to the nation. All this is being started for the goal to make way for the Antichrist to enter into the world. That's why the one world government is not a good idea. It is a satanic influence over the world that's happening. That's why we need to stay out of that. And this Antichrist that's coming, guess what? He's going to make the peace. He's going to bring prosperity to the land, the Jewish land. He's going to allow the 3rd temple to be built. The same Mashiach, the same Messiah that the Jewish people are waiting for is the same. Okay, let me rephrase that. The same Messiah that the Jewish people are waiting for, his acts, what he's going to do, are the same things that the Antichrist is supposed to do when he shows up. Is the Mashiach going to be the Antichrist? Because they're waiting for that person to do those things. The Bible prophesies that the Antichrist is the person who's going to do those things. This is an excerpt from a National Geographic series called The Story of God. And it's about the Jewish people explaining their Messiah, the Mashiach.
Is there a Messiah
In Judaism,
in Judaism?
Jews invented the Messiah. But it's not the same Messiah that most people think about.
Okay.
Right? Because when Christians think of the Messiah, they think of someone who's divine.
Yeah.
They think of, the end of days. What we have for the Messiah is a man, a king of this earth, who's going to bring peace among the nations in this world.
And he will not be divine.
He will not be divine.
Is a man, a king of this earth, who's going to in this.
So, just got back here to the studio. That is why when the Antichrist comes, he is going to be able to stand on the mountain or the throne and proclaim that he is God, because their Messiah, they're waiting for the Messiah, and when he fulfills these things that the Messiah is supposed to fulfill, then he's going to stand on the Temple Mount and say, I am God. I am the one you've all been waiting for. Remember, it's going to be one world religion, one world everything. But that is going to allow him to be able to say that, right? We don't expect just anybody to say, hey, I'm God. But because he fulfills those acts, their Messiah that they've been waiting for, and all these things fall into place, he is then going to be able to say he is God, and the whole world is going to follow him. Then he's going to want that pledged allegiance with the mark of the beast. And that will be the beginning of the Great Tribulation, and then finally the second coming. So again, just want to encourage you, keep studying, keep reading the Bible, keep praying, keep seeking God with all your heart. I'm coming out with a timeline, just a timeline of events that will allow you to see better what's going to happen from the start of the final 7 years to the middle of the 7 years until finally the end, when we can expect the return of Jesus Christ. So be encouraged, pray for one another, lift each other up, and look up, because our redemption draweth nigh. God bless.